Ms. Weiss, thank you so much for joining us today at the Academy for Cultural Diplomacy here in Berlin. And it's an honor to have you here. And thank you so much for your very insightful speech at the conference. And we would like to ask you a series of questions regarding some salient issues. And would love to know about your thoughts and opinions regarding that. So we'll start with the...
I would like to ask what's your opinion on the current situation in Ukraine, and is it a war between Russia and the West?
Yes, it is, but it's also a turning point in world history where Europe, as the nest of democracy, is fighting back to protect the values of the democracy, the will to speak, the will to minority protection, and therefore the invasion of Russia to Ukraine is a matter for the whole part of the world who wants democracy. And that's also, I think, why we see that especially US and also UK, not being anymore a member of the European Parliament, how much we co-create with each other, trying to help the best we can and even more the Ukrainians, to give them what they need right now at the front, weapons and ammunition, but also to send signals that we are already helping them now how to rebuild their country, and also hopefully when Putin and his soldier has gone home again, that we are there to help Ukraine to recover and to rebuild their society, and hopefully within not that many years be able to become a member of the European Union.
Okay, so what do you believe is the solution to the crisis?
To the crisis around the war?
Yes.
There are many solutions that needs to be done, much more. The issues on weapons and ammunition, I really hope that every member state in the EU, as also other states around in the world, that they see this here is a matter of how to protect democracy and freedom and peace. So we need to show authoritarians like Putin that what he did, we don't accept. So we fight them back, and also we make much more cooperation with European countries, with democracies around the world, to build up their state models where they are weak. That goes not only in the European continent, but also in the way that the EU collaborates with states in Africa, how we also open up more trade agreements with the rest of the world's growing economies, so that we help each other by trade, but also when we have both development and business cooperations, we also share more and more a common language on how to make democracy grow and develop into the future.
Thank you.
Okay, I would like to ask you about cultural diplomacy. You've been a member of European Parliament, and cultural exchange is a very significant part of European Union's activities.
Yeah.
So how do you define cultural diplomacy, and what do you think the significance or role of cultural diplomacy in the New World Order or for the European Union and together?
Well, there is this saying that you don't kill the one that you have just had a song together with.
Yes.
When we sing together, then when that is done, we don't immediately go into a fight. So cultural diplomacy is addressing our histories in different regions and member states and groups in society, and by being curious to meet other ways of living, of other ways of expressing values on freedom, on love, on dignity, etc., etc. You learn much more how to understand that economy and that country on the political level. So cultural diplomacy is also something that bridges over the current more complicated fights that might be. That's also why I was a little, and I'm still speculating whether it is such a good idea that the cultural relations between European countries and Russian private cultures entities, that they are closed down, because we must always, and that's a part of my understanding of politics as an act of love, that ordinary people and free-thinking artists, they articulate neighbor love that we can use to rebuild a better understanding, and also to tell the fighting politicians that they are wrong in what they do. What is going on in the subsidiary streams of different colors and themes in the cultural diplomacy is actually where the majority of the citizens either are or want to go. Yeah. So cultural diplomacy is often misunderstood as something we do just for the amusement. Yes. It's like, when you talk about the budget for arts and culture, also in my country, it's like, okay, it's the add-on, that's the extra if we can afford it. Yeah. And I'm looking at it in a totally opposite way, that culture addresses who we are, how we think, what our values are. And we need to make that a fundamental base to all political topics, might be schools, business, techniques, whatever, environment. Everything, all initiatives, they come from the cultural actions that we do as human beings, but also that we invite much more the art into the culture of politics, because artists, they put up reflections on society. They either provoke, or they acknowledge, or they whatever they do, they kind of stir things up by sometimes also saying us that we are wrong, and we need these enzymes to have a healthy environment in the culture of politics. We need artists to do so, as we has also understood, and we see it actually now, that when we invite art and culture into business development, then the cultural sector as an industry is growing so much faster than other business and industry ecosystems. I mean, the cultural sector in Europe right now is bigger than the car industry.
Yes.
So by inviting artists into business creation and democracy creation can spark so much more value if we do that.
Thank you so much for elaborating on that, and it's a valuable comment, because that's how we think cultural diplomacy should work here in ICD, and it resonates what we believe in here.
Wonderful.
So as a final question, I would like to ask you something, like you are advocating for more love and empathy in politics.
Yep.
So what do you think the significance or role of women to advocate or enhance that concept, especially in this scenario as a female leader? Yes.
That is interesting, because as you know, I'm also a certified sexologist, and I know that this idea that women are more kind, are more living creatures than men, I think that's wrong.
Okay.
But the way that our culture has shaped politics over many years have made the masculine side dominant. What I see now when I look at my female colleagues is that they can also be very masculine in the way that they work with politics, but also when I talk with my male colleagues about the culture of politics and the culture in democracy, they have this still very subtle, quiet longing to be able to make politics in a more neighbor, love, kind way.
Yes.
I remember it was 2 years ago about that, the Christmas in 2021 in December. I took one song, a Christmas song, to a group meeting in EPP with 11 different languages, so
Wow.
that we could sing all together, in
yes.
our own language. And I distributed this paper to all 176 colleagues and staff. And then I asked, can we just stand up and sing this Christmas song? And by that, greeting the coming holiday. And people were like, what is she asking us? we are the biggest and the oldest group in the European Parliament, and we have never ever sung a song together at all. So they were a little scared about how to do, but they did, because they kind of liked me, and it was a way to do it in a nice way, to say thank you for my initiative. So they did it, but they didn't like it before after.
Okay.
Then they came to me and said, wow, we have never sung together. And that was actually a nice experience. Can we do it again tomorrow? And then we did then in the group meeting the day after, and there everybody was standing up and with pride, and much more also singing with the body, greeting a happy holiday together. So that is where this special thing that the song as an artful creation, if it is being invited into the culture of politics, can give us a new music in the room that hopefully can add to our possibilities to listen a little bit more careful to what each other are saying, but also to carry on, although we sometimes also very much disagree with each other.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
sharing your experience and your comments on that.
You're welcome, and thank you for you.
Having you here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.